not since the late 1980s have Stoke come away from Plymouth with 3 points, but this is a different Stoke side, whispering quietly, could be heading to the playoffs. To review that game and the transfer window, just how well have the Coates family done for Stoke City this year, we've got Liam and Alfie with us on Where Potters Walk. Thanks for watching. Come join us. Fresh back from the South Coast, Liam and Alfie. How are you doing, fellas? All right?
Yeah, good, Mark.
Good stuff. Right, on this episode this week, we are asking you, as a Stoke fan, what is your worst away day that you've ever experienced? Pop it in the comments. We'll be reading some of these out next week. We're also going to ask these two to grade the transfer window. Now, it closed this last Friday. How well have Stoke done? Grade it from 1 to 10. And, of course, we're also going to look at Stoke fixtures after the international break to see where we think they're going to land up. But let's start with Plymouth away, shall we? Alfie, walk us through what was good.
Like the Coventry game, it's a game that we lose last season, well, which we did, but the way the game went, chances at both ends, end-to-end game. But I think defensively we were really good. Johansson had a fantastic game. And to be fair, I think in the first half we could have had 3 or 4 massive chances. The only thing missing was that final ball, but then obviously Manu, as good as he is, showed his magic again. And it's just in those games, it's a bit of magic you need to win, and that's what we had.
Yeah, it's a sweet strike, wasn't it? You don't Stoke seem to shoot outside the box these days, but certainly that was a welcome sight, Liam, wasn't it? Do you agree with Alfie's review?
Yeah, it was a pretty even game, to be fair. Definitely end to end. It was a bit of a basketball game for a lot of it, but I think on the quality of the chances, we deserve the game. Like Alfie said, I think Manuf could have had a hat trick within the first 20 minutes, and the one he scored was the hardest one.
What is it about Stoke away from home sometimes? Against Watford, we sat here and we said they just didn't look up for it in the second half, and you're flattered to deceive. And then in other games, you look like Brazil in some periods of it. Do you think is it the case this team is just starting to gel now, Alfie, more than obviously at the start of the season, or is it tactically? Is it something different?
I think it's a well-gelled team. I think they all get along. There's a video at the end of the Plymouth game. They're all singing Manu's song together, which was nice. But no, I think it's more away from home tactically, because like the Watford game, sometimes we are going to have away games like that under Schumacher where we are going to get beat quite well. But I think some games we're going to win away from home because of how he sets up. It's dependent on the opponent, I think. But I think at home we look really good. I mean, even against West Brom, I thought we had chances, and we definitely could have came away from that with a point, which would have been brilliant. But away from home, I think we're gonna be pretty even in terms of win some, lose some, because like I say, against Watford we deserve to lose because of how they set up, but then Plymouth we deserve to win because we were set up better than them. So it's just going to be one of them, I think.
Clean sheet, Liam. We must talk about that as well. Goalkeeper, is that his best game for Stoke so far?
Yeah, definitely. Made some cracking saves, to be fair. All the back four played well though as well. Eric Bocat was brilliant, and then Schumacher always talks about the value of his squad, not just his starting 11. And towards the end of the game, they bought Ben Gibson on. In centre back, he subbed Ashley Phillips off of Ben Gibson, and he brought some more defenders on. And you're thinking, do you really change your centre backs when you're 1-0 up away from home? And they just straight in, no problem whatsoever. So it was a good team effort defensively. I thought Walter Berger, he's come under some criticism at the start of the season, but when you're playing further back and he's in his preferred role, he's a different player than when you put him in a number 10 spot. So defensively, yeah, we were really good.
Are either you getting excited yet, or you still still nervously cautious about what you've seen so far?
I never get excited anymore. I do at the game, but I have a little think about it and think, well, we've been here a few times, so let's take it steady.
This is the best Stoke have started a season, not in terms of points, of course, but it's surely in terms of just the feeling around the club, the performances. There seems to be a togetherness about Stoke that it's not seen for a while. Alfie, is that a fair comment?
Yeah, definitely. I think a big part of that is Schumacher and Walters, because Walters knows what it takes to be a successful team, because we stayed in the Premier League for so long under Pulis due to how well the squad got along. And then Schumacher, he seems like a really good motivator, really good, he's a good people person. He comes across as one of them. And yeah, I think the 21-22 season, we started that season well under O'Neill. I think we were like top 3 in November, but there were a few games where we just didn't look like a team. But I think in every game this season, we have looked like a team. So yeah, he's looking good. I think a top half finish isn't an unrealistic shout, and isn't me getting ahead of myself. I'm not getting ahead of myself and thinking playoffs yet though. Last 2 times.
No wonder that Schumacher's the 4th favourite to be the next Everton manager, is it? given the start of this, maybe it could happen. All right, let's look at some takes from social media then, and let's see whether you agree with what the Stoke faithful had to say this week. Liam, Lee says Sidibe changed the game yesterday. He looked much better with him and Berger as sixes rather than Berger alone, which I think he was talking earlier with Junior and Moran. But thought his passing and position is outstanding. Shuey also got it spot on as to when to bring him on. You agree with
that? Yeah, I mean, it boggles the mind that he's only 17. I think he's already twice the footballer his dad was, and that's no disregard to Mama because I loved him. But the composure he's got for a 17-year-old in tight spaces with the ball, and like I say, his positioning is fantastic. I think that's part of the feel-good factor. I think Alfie might say the same, that we're playing decent football, everyone's bought into it, and we've got a squad with 5 or 6 players out of the youth academy in, which is unheard of for Stoke. You're lucky with Stoke if you got one every 5 years. So yeah, Sidibe was really good when he come on. He technically got an assist, but I don't know if you can class it as that because I think Manuf did most of the work. But yeah, he's really good, really bright future, and I think sadly he's going to be one of them where you might see a bit part of him this year, and he'll gradually get in the team, and then he'll be gone because you don't get players at 17 playing Championship football without moving on pretty swiftly.
Alfie, fullbacks is something we've discussed, I think, weekly on this programme, positively and negatively. James is saying this is a really good showing from the fullbacks against 2 really good wingers. Do you concur with that one?
Definitely. Bocat had his best game in a Stoke shirt by an absolute mile, and I think he's been good all season so far. I think the Watford game he had a bit of a poor showing, but he was amazing against Plymouth. He kept Whittaker so quiet. I think Whittaker got past him a couple of times in the opening 15 minutes. But once he got settled, he was my man of the match personally. He was unreal. And then Semedo was the same. Semedo was a lot better. He looked a lot more confident. Won his free kicks out the pitch, driving into the midfield. But I think the big difference is he actually played Semedo and Bocat wide fullbacks instead of playing them more narrow, which he's been doing this season. But as soon as he put them out wide, they've shown how good they actually are, which is brilliant.
And Liam, James said the deserved win, not his best game, but beyond that, a great game. Stevie Aidan says loads of positives. Phillips, Bocat, Junior, Million were all very good. Stevie's been a Rolls Royce in a couple of years. The more we see of him, the more we see of him, the better. Do you go that far to say he's going to be that good? I don't like the term Rolls Royce player personally, but I can see what he's getting at. Is he going to be that good?
He's going to be a Premier League player. It's hard when they're so young, isn't it? because you don't know what path they're going to take. I'd be surprised if he's not playing Premier League within the next 3 years or so, or at least high level, and then it just depends how he goes from there.
All right then, so nice position in the league for you. Bit of a break now. That can sometimes disrupt the flow, can't it? So this might not be the best time for Stoke to have a break. And then 5 games when we come back, Alfie, to the next one. Oxford away and Middlesbrough away and Swansea away are the 5 fixtures for the Championship, with 2 home games against Hull and Portsmouth. So, having seen you already win at Middlesbrough, I'm going to say there's no reason why that can't be 15 points. You know?
Take it.
I wouldn't mind that.
Do you see anything on there that there's no big boys on there, is there? There's nothing to be scared of. I think it's what I've put to you.
I personally don't see anything scary in the league at all so far. Not compared to last season and the season before.
Yeah.
I know there is some good sides, but it's nowhere near as hard as last season from the first showing. So I wouldn't really be fearing anyone at this point.
Mm.
Yeah, and a nice Friday night game against Hull to warm the cockles in late September. Okay, let's rate the transfer window then. In the comments below, I want you to ask yourselves and tell us what score do you give Stoke City's transfer dealings out of 10. If you look at the spendings overall across the whole league, there you are, mid-table, spent just over 6 million euros. Recouped, of course, 3 million of that coming in. So in terms of balances, I mean, there are some Stoke fans, I think, Liam, that expect Stoke to spend a little more than that. But in terms of balances, you're 7th in terms of, you have spent more than you've recouped. Is that? It's never a worry for Stoke fans because there's a limitless pot, isn't there? I suppose of cash. But do Stoke fans look at things? Well, why are we not making more on the outgoings of some players? It's not one. Not a club you can ever look at and go, well, yeah, you're going to sell a 20 million player like Norwich have done or Leeds have done. Why hasn't that happened?
I think it's taken a bit of time for Stoke to figure out that that's what they need to do to be a successful Championship team. And I think in the coming seasons, that's what you'll see, because Bajun Ho, Wouterberger, Million Manu are all going to go for over 10 million at least, all 3 of them. So we have consistently bought older English players, Scottish and Irish players for a number of years. It's been painful to watch and not so painful to see them go out the door. Not really made any money on any of them. And we did change it last year and it didn't work out, but it looks like the plan of signing players has become a bit more modernised. Like the youngest Stoke team ever to play a league game against Plymouth. And, we've got some foreign lads in there. There's a bit of grit and determination with some of the older English lads. So it's just it seems to have taken them a while to just modernise, and it finally seems like they're getting there now. So I think the big sales will be coming, and it's how they deal with losing the players for big money and replacing them. That's the next, because that's what Brighton can do in Brentford and people like that, can't they? They can lose the players for big money, replace them for cheaper, and still get a decent level of player in. So that's the next phase, I think.
All right, let's have a look then at the ins and the outs. This is from justinhockey.com, so it may not be entirely accurate. But in terms of the arrivals, and the money's been spent obviously on both and lower, centre back there, Alfie, Gallagher also as well was a little bit of money with Boca and the keeper, which I still think could be the best deal of the summer. And then free transfer for Ben Gibson. So overall, you say that Stoke are in a stronger position in terms of the squad than they were 12 months ago? That's how we look at transfer window, isn't it?
Yeah. I think last season, looking back at it, it was all just very sort of random because we shipped off half the squad. I think we started pre-season with, 7 players or something. So it almost seemed like a big rush to get as many players in as we could. But I think this window looks a lot more controlled. We've targeted the weak spots, and a lot of Stoke fans have been moaning, saying, why aren't we signing anyone? But then in the last couple of weeks, we've signed 3 or 4 players. I think Lawal's a brilliant signing. He's a unit of a midfielder who'd go well alongside Berger, and allows the attack to be a little bit more expressive, I think, if you've got 2 really good holding midfielders. Gallagher's hard working. We've heard he's not great with his end product, but then Tom Cannon is that. He's a mint finisher. He's looked good. He's a young lad. He's got something to prove. He's looked good. Bocat, brilliant. Johansson, like you say, probably the best deal in the league. Gibson's experience. Seko, I don't know about him, to be honest with you. Phillips is good and Koumas looks really good. So yeah, I think the weak spots have been bolstered and we've got like 2 quality players in each position. So definitely better than last season.
Before we ask you for your gradings, Liam, we also must look at what's left as well, because part of the window is also to remove sort of big wages from the club and remove aging players as well. Are there any on here that you look at and go, club have missed a trick with, or do you look at down the system and go, yeah, I'd have got rid of all of them myself if I was in charge?
Yeah, I'd have got rid of all of them. I always had a soft spot for Tyrese Campbell. He was a 50-50 for Stoke fans. Some couldn't get him at all. Some loved him. I thought he was really. I really liked watching him play. But it was time for him to move on. And like I said last week, Josh Thuran and Lewis Baker, some of the highest earners, legs are going, end of the career, can get money for them or get the wages off. And it was nice at the weekend to watch a group of midfielders who all wanted the ball at the feet. And like I said, I feel like with Baker and Laurent and Daniel Johnson and people like that, they were good off the ball and then wanted to get rid of it as soon as they got it. So I think that was the difference on the weekend. We had so much more control with the ball that it just made the game a little less tense. So yeah, I got rid of them all without a shadow of a doubt. I have no interest in any of them players still being at Stoke. So yeah, I think that's been the best part of the window for me. Not just the players we've got in, that we've managed to shift some of the deadwood out.
Okay. All right, then let's ask you for your overall gradings. Then, based on everything we've just discussed, money in, money out, players in, players out. Alfie, out of 10.
9.
Pretty solid. Liam?
I'm going to go 8. I think if we'd have got a right back in who was a similar level to Shamadou, there's Covet, I'd have liked that. But apparently Tatsuki Seko guy who we got in, yeah, I think he can play right back, so that might be an option. Yeah, pretty high scoring window, to be fair.
We'll ask you the same question again at Christmas and ask you the same question again at the end of the year. We'll
0.
Show these
0 on the
videos
16.
back. All right, where do you think Potters Potters have done in terms of put it in the comments below? Before we let you go, away days. We're asking all across our network each team to rate or nominate their worst away day that they've ever been on. Alfie, you're young enough, I think, probably not to have done too many, but does any stick in your minds that you've done so far?
I've done quite a few since we've been in the Championship. I'd say I went Tottenham when we lost 5-1 at Wembley, but because I think we knew we were down, it was just a laugh. But I think the worst one was Blackburn last season. It's an horrible drive. It's an horrible ground. It was an horrible performance, and it was a horrible atmosphere. I'd have to go Blackburn, I think.
Liam?
I'm going to go more personal and result based. And the year we got promoted, went to Sheffield Wednesday away, and we were in Sheffield for 9:30 in the morning. So can imagine I had one too many. Can't remember the first half. Fell asleep in the second half. I think we drew 1-1, but that was in the younger days. That kind of thing doesn't happen no more.
One of my worst, well, not worst, but in terms of weather, Everton played Stoke. It was when Allardyce was in charge of Everton. I forget who the Stoke manager was, but it was a January day. The snow came in, and I was actually sat in the home stand just behind the dugouts. And the wind whips that snow right in your face. Oh God! It person.
That
Mr.
was
Keith.
our relegation season, I believe.
I think it was. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that was disgusting. Charlie Adam got himself
so he
sent
got
off.
sent off. That's right. Yeah.
That doesn't sound like him.
I'd
That's
love
painful
Smash
I've
then. Smash
painful I've
Fleetwood.
Yeah, it's been you get some horrendous nights down there. Not just the football, the weather.
Okay. If you can beat any of that, comment below. We'd love to hear from you. I'll give you 2 weeks off if that's all right, and we'll see you the other side of the international break to review the next one. Cheers, fellas, and thanks for joining us on Live Pod as well.